1.
Holy smokes! I basically was just sitting here and then got a text message, and then you got a phone call because I didn't read my text message that we have babies coming.
It's go time.
It's go time today, which means I gotta get out of here. But we got a lot to cover first before the plane takes off. We gotta cover Amazon, the deliciousness of Enphase. We got to talk about
Chipotle's
Chipotle.
delicious.
Oh, that
Enphase
was the
not
delicious
delicious.
one.
Come
Chipotle was
on.
the delicious one. Right. And then we've also got a lot of other things to cover. Israel, Palestine, ground. We got to talk about that. We've got to talk. We'll talk some free speech. We'll talk some politics. I want to also touch on Sam Bankman-Fried and that clickbait of today. We got to touch on that briefly. But let's hit some of these numbers first. So Amazon giving us a boost here. Mikey, you said that after hours you got the cloud companies, like even Cloudflare, it's in the name, up. What's going on? What did Amazon just pull off?
So yeah, Amazon beat in revenue expectations and net income. And so what we're seeing is almost 5% up right now in after hours, 4.92 exactly. I'm seeing Cloudflare up in the after hours. I'm seeing GitLab up. These are companies up about 3% in the after hours, which kind of goes to my point of what I was saying yesterday, where I don't think people were worried specifically that Google was losing relative market share. I think people were just worried that cloud compute was going down as a whole. And it looks like Amazon came to save the day and everything's back to being okay.
Yeah, subscription services, net sales coming in at $10.17 billion. That beat expectations only slightly, but still beat those expectations. And net sales forecast for the fourth quarter. To me, Amazon, when they guide net sales for the quarter, I look at that and I go, that's your retail customer. That is what, outside of cloud for a moment, that's also the economy. Remember, 70% of the economy is the consumer. So when I see net sales and a net sales estimate, that's actually close to in line with expectations, I get excited because to me that means, wow, still no dirty, disgusting recession. Right now, net sales forecast for Q4 are expected to be, for this fourth quarter, $163.5 billion. That's the sales.
Nice.
Remember, they barely make any money on the stuff they sell. So I don't really care so much about that. I care about what it means for the economy, money multiplier, velocity of money. $163.5 billion of sales. Could you imagine your company?
That's a lot.
Having $163.5 billion of sales and then telling everyone, but we break even. But anyway, their estimate was actually 166. So their estimate missed, but it isn't that bad. And the fact that cloud beat estimates, that excited folks as well as EPS. So good for Amazon to tell us, don't worry. Recession is not here this quarter or coming quarter. Unless, of course, you're listening to Enphase. Enphase got absolutely reamed. One of the reasons they say, actually the biggest reason they gave, which they didn't give until the earnings call, is a substantial demand reduction in Europe. Now, Europe's really interesting because they're arguing, don't worry, it'll just be 1 quarter. Okay. So apparently the Europeans don't buy solar in the winter. I don't know if this is abnormal or this happens all the time, but I'll tell you, when I watched these numbers come across the tape and my jaw dropped with how terrible they were.
I have a stat.
Yeah.
They expect revenue next quarter. Not only their numbers were bad, their guidance was worse.
Well, that was the jaw dropper.
Yeah.
How bad? I want to hear you say it.
The expected revenue is now between 300 to 350 million. That's what they're expected to make this coming quarter.
Yep.
Before this quarter happened, they were guiding at 600 million.
Yeah, exactly.
Oof.
So if you take the midpoints and do the math, it is a decline of about 44%. One of the reasons they're doing this, by the way, is they take a very opposite approach to Tesla. And I'm not saying it's right, but I know why they're doing it. So they take an opposite approach to Tesla. Tesla's approach is cut prices when interest rates go up. Enphase says interest rates up, manufacture less. Why? Because they use contractors. Their costs are low. So they're like, why should we lower the price of our stuff? We'll just make less. Where Elon's like, well, first of all, we have our own factories, so we have to pay for our factory staff no matter how many cars we're making. So you can't just turn the factories off and then not pay the people. And on top of that, Elon's vision is, how many cars can I get out there to sell more FSD to? That's not true with Enphase. With Enphase, you have these microinverters and these parts for solar systems, basically, that rely on people saying, okay, my electricity bill is $1,000. I want it to be lower. Somebody this morning, before the earnings, they told me they got an interest quote on Enphase panels, or not, Enphase doesn't make panels, but an Enphase system with like Q-cell panels or whatever. And the interest rate they got quoted was 11%. And I'm like, bro, you just pay the electricity bill at that point. Like, you're either paying interest at 11%, and now you've sunk yourself up to your eyeballs in debt, which isn't great. Just pay the utility. You can always beg the utility company, which actually is very common. In rough times, you beg the utility company, and they come out with payment plans and options for you, and they'll make deals with you where they don't hit your credit. You screw the lender, you're like guaranteed toast. You know, I mean, you can negotiate with lenders too. It's harder. Like, they have you in a harder spot. So the point is, like, why would you do that? Like, you have to basically pay cash. And so what's happening right now is, you know, Terry, our notary, we love Terry. She's great. She's doing no refinances. So when people aren't refinancing, they don't have money to go buy a solar panel system. I should clarify that when I say that. Or can you shorten it to solar system?
I hear solar system all the time, which makes me laugh every time, but I think it's correct.
It might actually be correct, but that is kind of funny. Solar system, I love that. But anyway, you know, people are doing HELOCs like crazy because the values are high. And it's optional debt. So when you take out a HELOC, you don't have to pay that interest rate. And it's still lower than, you know, what financing equipment might be. Yeah. Maybe you're paying 9% or 10%. You know, it's fractionally lower. So Enphase is absolutely getting destroyed by interest rates. There's no question about that. And we knew that was coming. But we also thought they would guide appropriately. And so that's the scary thing. It's like, what's changed since their last earnings call? What, rates are like 75 bips higher? How does that justify a 42% miss on guide? That scares me a bit. Now, I don't know. I've got to still go through the rest of the 10Q and that, but it is a little bit of a pisser that they guided this poorly, especially since they used to be very good at guiding. Maybe
it's too early to tell, but psychologically, are you looking at this as a buy the dip opportunity, or are you looking at this like, hey, let's reevaluate the business? Has your faith in the business squandered a little bit?
The way I would answer that is the business is great. It's a high margin business. In fact, their margin beat on this earnings report, their margin beat. They are a high margin product. They are the iPhone of solar. The problem is people just ain't buying these iPhones right now because the rates are so high. So we know it's not the business. And clearly the visibility wasn't great, but that's still, you know, like they should have had that visibility, but they didn't. So that is concerning, but it doesn't change the underlying business. The business is still a good business. You're just in a cycle. You're a cyclical stock. And the reality is interest rates going up. Jerome Powell's like, interest rates going up. Would have just been better, obviously hindsight 2020, to say any manufacturing stock dump. And quite frankly, that's what you learn in the books too. Like, it's just, you know, sometimes you look at it, it's like, oh, well, you know, maybe what's priced in, right? The market doesn't work like a book, and that's why it's so hard. So, but yeah, usually manufacturing just gets destroyed during a high interest rate environment. So that's where you have to ask yourself, well, do you think rates are going to go down soon? If they don't go down soon, the question is, how low does the company go in the meantime? You know, every time a company stock falls, everybody in the comments is an expert on where it's going to go next, and it's always half. Like Tesla's 120. Everybody in the comments like, it's going to 60.
60.
You know? And then it goes to 109 and people are bitching they didn't buy the dip, right? And so now it's like, Kevin, Enphase is going to 40, you know? But hey, maybe those were people who were saying it was going to 80 at 160 and then it did. So, you know, it's like nobody has the crystal ball, but it is a pisser. It's a pisser.
But what does give me a little bit of hope, like a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, is the margins are still strong and we're better than expected. So the core fundamental business is still there. The kind of thought process I think everybody should evaluate themselves is, can you hold this pain while you ride out this high interest rate environment? Because if you believe in that and the interest rates are going to come down, the business is going to continue to thrive when that happens. This could be a great time to pick up your high margin business at a discount. But it really just depends on everybody's scenario if you can hold that pain for that long.
Well, because the other thing is, here's what happens in environments like this. All the other businesses go bankrupt. The high margin ones survive. See, Enphase actually has a beauty. Enphase has the ability to say, stop manufacturing. And their costs don't really change that much because it's all contract manufacturing in like Romania or whatever. Now that sucks for them. That means those manufacturers are going to lay off employees, and those economies are going to suffer. But Enphase is like, we can ride. You know, they keep innovating. They keep their R&D up. They're launching their new battery next year. IQ battery manufacturing actually coming to the U.S. in mid-24. This is a company that has the capacity to keep innovating. And when the competition thins out, they could do extremely well because now you have less competition.
It's true.
Less innovating at the competition. But you also have this potential of a company that says, well, we have 50% margins. You know, their gross margin came in at is expected to be 49.5%. The estimate was 45.2. So their margin went up like 400 basis points. It's just their guide's lower. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons they're doing that is they're not lowering the price, because if they lower the price, they have to go back to everybody they sold panels or parts for panels to beforehand, give them credit backs. So they're like, we don't want to write that check, so we'll just keep the price high and sell less. That's what they're doing. Now, again, like I said, it's the opposite of Tesla. But do I think that this is a company that, like, in 10 years from now, I'm going to be happy owning? Of course. Do I feel like a loser holding Enphase now? Hell yeah, I do. Am I going to have like another rum coffee? I mean, just a coffee? Yeah, probably. But you know what? That's stocks. That's the nature of the stock market. Like, the people who make it in the stock market are like, tell me another day. You know, it's the Warren Buffett. It's like, throw the ball as much as you want. I invest in good businesses, right?
And that's what the margin, like, invest in businesses with strong margin.
Right. And it'd be nice to be back at normalized interest rates. But when that is anybody's guess.
Or you can see it as an opportunity. Like, I love this company and you can get it at a great discount. Like, just like the Warren Buffett, like, swing when you want. Like, if somebody's been, people always ask, like, obviously we don't give just personal financial advice, like, just blatantly.
Right.
But people are always asking, do I load the boat on Enphase yet? Do I load the boat on Enphase yet? Well, those people that are asking are getting even a better deal for if you were considering it. So it's just interesting.
And it depends on everybody's situation too. You know, like, certainly if you're like, oh, I need to pay my taxes in 3 weeks, I'm going to take all that money and YOLO it on Enphase. Well, you might have half as much left.
If you're lucky.
Yeah. So yeah, rip. So then you had Chipotle beat, and I want to talk more about Amazon, but quickly, Chipotle slight beat on Q3 revenue. They're actually guiding for roughly about the 270-ish restaurants, a little bit more than they expected for new restaurants. Comp sales actually up 5%. That's probably just purely inflation. They're kind of matching food inflation at about 5% on comp sales. So you kind of got a steady moving business here. One of the concerns for Chipotle is the valuation for Chipotle. It's a great company. It's clearly a pricing power business. And you could say the same, honestly, about Enphase. Like, they have pricing power. But the problem is, if the growth goes away, the valuation can collapse. And that's what's happening with Enphase. They have the pricing power for the people who want to buy solar. But if the entire industry doesn't want to buy solar anymore, you know,
cyclical.
You could have the best pricing power in a crappy industry. And that's just what you're stuck with. So then growth goes down, and when growth goes down, that's when valuations get destroyed. So, like, you look at, you know, Enphase, for example, you look at, you know, oh, it's a peg of 1. Sure, if the average growth is going to be 25% over the next 4 or 5 years. But what if it's 0, 0, and then 25, 25? You know, now all of a sudden you take 50 divided by 4, your growth's like 12, 12. So you're at a peg ratio 2, 2. So it's a little tough when you look at the growth stocks. The same is true for Chipotle. They're not a darling valuation. We could run their valuation really quickly. So the valuation on Chipotle, and here on October 26th, you're looking at $43 in expected EPS for the end of this year. You're looking at roughly about a guide of 20% growth going forward. Take 1,800 divided by $43. Puts you at about a 41.8 PE ratio divided by about 20% growth. You're at a 2 peg on Chipotle.
Wow.
So you are paying for that growth that's expected. And you know what I really think could kill? Like, part of me is like, I've always wanted Chipotle. Like, I want to order a Chipotle burrito now. The last time I missed a child's birth, I had a burrito. So, you know, keep the trend going. We got clickbaited. We'll have to talk about that from the hospital. We'll talk about that. But anyway, you got, what was I saying with the burritos? I wanted to buy Chipotle. Yeah. But part of me is like, there is a real risk with the weight loss shots that consumption actually goes negative at a lot of these brands.
But Chipotle is viewed as one of the more holistic food brands. You're not necessarily going to McDonald's and getting who knows what processed. People trust Chipotle generally to be more natural ingredients. Like you get the lettuce, the tortilla, and you get like the beans. It's more natural than say going to.
So is Whole Foods, but it's like, can you say that calories are fungible?
No.
Sure you can.
Oh, well.
Absolutely, right? It's just like the dollar. It's like, the United States gives Iran $5 billion, but just use it for humanitarian purposes, and then they spend the $5 billion on, terrorism from a different pocket, right? And then they refill it with the $5 billion for humanitarian purposes. Yes, the humanitarian purpose is refilling our bank account. you know, sure. It's humanitarian for the Iranians, and the Persians.
Nutrition might not be fungible, but like the actual energy from the calories is, sure.
Yes. So, of course, but like if we're talking about, okay, I mean, in fairness, yes, I would argue that like if you get the fajitas in your burrito, you're going to get some more nutrition than you will if you just have a burger and fries from McDonald's. True. But the question is, Americans are not the best at making nutrition-based decisions. We're really good at making decisions based on what tastes good right now because I'm hungry. Okay, that's what we do. That's one of the reasons we have an obesity problem, and it is what it is. It's the society we're in. So the question is, if a weight loss drug like an Ozempic or Wegovy or whatever, if these compress, like literally, caloric intake in the United States by 10% per year, do you have to go into Chipotle and say, I have to lower your growth estimates from 20% on EPS to maybe 15% on EPS?
I see what you mean, but I think you're giving way too much weight to the Ozempic because you're so funny. Because revenue is still up 13% year over year.
Well, because not everybody's taking this stuff yet.
But I think I don't think everybody will.
Look, I don't know anything about bio stuff. I'll be the first to admit it. Like, I'm not this like medical stuff. I try to stay away from it. I don't like pills. I don't like supplements. I don't want anything. Lauren's like, I gotta take this. I'll go through it. I'm like, what is this? She's like, that's my asthma medicine. I need it to survive. I'm like, are you sure?
Let's not test that. We're
no.
Not test it.
She's like, oh, Kevin, the kids are allergic to nuts. Max, try walnut. Oh, that didn't work out too well. He's still alive. He's fine.
Let's just say we have EpiPens everywhere. Everywhere.
Well, look, I'm not good at that kind of stuff. I get it. But I'm just saying, like, as somebody who likes analyzing financial stuff on a daily basis, if people are going from eating 4,000 calories a day to 1,200 calories a day, those calories are coming from somewhere.
How many people are actually on Ozempic?
I don't know.
I think you're factoring. I think you're factoring that in way too much.
I guess that's fair. It's like how many people need to take it, and then how many burrito eaters at Chipotle are actually on Ozempic? Okay, well let's say it's 10% of the burrito eaters at a Chipotle, and all of a sudden, but the question is, what does that go down to? Does the 10% go down to 1%? Then that's a 9% delta. Then that's a big deal.
Okay, in 2022, there were more than 9 million people.
That's a lot.
But is that going to affect Chipotle's earnings?
How many customers does Chipotle have? I don't know. Let's find out. 750,000.
And how many people stay on Ozempic forever?
Well, I guess it depends. I mean, they serve 22 million people a month. That's also true because you have the vanity factor. Like people will go in and they just want to lose an extra 10 pounds, so they take Ozempic a bit. But you're just going to rebound. You're going to be on it forever if you take it. So
the thing about Chipotle is it's seen as like, in the fitness industry, people go to Chipotle because it's more of a real food rather than like a McDonald's or a Burger King. I think maybe more unhealthy foods, but I think even still, the amount of people that eat at these restaurants daily will not be affected by Ozempic. I think it's just I don't think they correlate.
What do you think, Mikey?
Oof. I lean a little bit towards McKay on this one. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's all right.
I'm not that sorry. There's a lot of unknowns here. Anytime something new, especially in the bio realm, comes out, like we always know so little, and who knows, maybe a year from now it's going to be like, oh yeah, this causes like all kinds of disease, and we're not going to use it anymore. There could be a ton of other issues.
I know that does scare me. You're right about that. But listen to this: Chipotle serves 750,000 customers per day. That's a lot.
It's a lot.
However, the average Chipotle customer per Business Insider visits a Chipotle 9 times per year. So that means you take 750,000 per day times 30 times 12, roughly, that's 360 days, divided by 9, that's 30 million. So 30 million customers on average per year going to Chipotle, okay? You said 9 million people are on Ozempic.
That was a 2023. I would expect that to be a lot more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's my point. Like, I don't think anybody knows, and any math we do is going to be wrong. But if 15 million people are on Ozempic or Ozempic or whatever, and who are the people on Ozempic? Is it the really skinny people who can't get a burrito down anyway? Or is it people who are like, I'll take 2?
It's the people who go to Taco Bell, though, not the ones who go to Chipotle.
That's my point. No, that in all seriousness, that's my point.
I don't believe that.
It's the people like Chipotle. There is no drive-through. You have to get in and go get the food yourself.
What if Chipotle lanes?
No, what?
Yeah.
No.
Google Chipotle lanes. Pull it up on the computer.
Yeah, you got the computer. But my point is, I don't think I don't think it was
9 times per year, by the way, not per day.
I don't think I don't think the correlation of people taking Ozempic and Chipotle customers correlate. I don't think that matches.
Basically, what you're saying is people who need Ozempic don't go to Chipotle. So you're saying Chipotle is discrimination.
Reverse discrimination.
Okay. That the people choose maybe a healthier choice or whatever, and you're saying you can't get overweight by going to Chipotle.
So well, think about this. What does Ozempic do? It helps get you away from snacking.
It compresses your appetite in total. It does not. The drug doesn't say you snack less. It says you eat less.
But it gets your appetite less, so you hopefully get like less munchies or less.
So you're not going to Chipotle.
No.
I order Chipotle when I'm starving. Like right now, I'm freaking starving, and I'm like, I need 2,000 calories right now in one plate.
You go to Chipotle for a meal, not a snack.
Yeah.
Ozempic helps people not snack. They eat full meals.
I don't know, but I think with Ozempic, if you're having 1,200 calories a day, you have you starve yourself from breakfast, you have a big lunch, like 1,200 calories, you're full, and you're full the rest of the day. Forget the snacking. If you have 1,200 calories to spend on food per day, bro, people snack that in like 5 minutes.
But what, like the Ozempic's supposed to compress that so that you get real food.
But that implies that people are going to spread out their $1,200 throughout the day, or their 1,200 calories throughout the day, and now they're going to eat lettuce and say, no, they're not. They're going to eat that delicious hamburger from McDonald's, or that I don't know if they're going to go for the burrito anymore at Chipotle. But they're going to eat whatever they want. You don't have to be healthy anymore if you're on Ozempic. You do because I think you're going to get a heart attack and you're going to have other problems. But theoretically, if you're losing weight eating junk food, chocolate bars or McDonald's hot.
Elon did it.
Yeah,
did I tell you what Elon would do? He'd take Ozempic and then just.
This was from his book.
This is from he takes Ozempic or Wegovy, whatever. I don't know the actual difference, but same thing. Essentially,
it's the same beta block
and
or whatever.
He would just eat this massive breakfast, like French toast, donuts, just like this massive breakfast. But that's all he would eat.
Yeah, that's dumb.
And he lost a good amount of weight.
Right, because he's on a drug.
Yeah.
That's my point, though.
I know
he's
other
now
drugs
not.
that'll make you lose weight too. Like you shouldn't be taking those.
Yeah. Like whatever. Let's move on.
Let's move on.
Susie says I only see thin people at Chipotle.
I was gonna say that, Susie.
Therefore, Kevin is wrong. And look, I'm Meet Kevin. I should know.
It's true.
Okay,
but
I should know.
If you're on Ozempic and you're like, okay, well maybe I don't need a burrito. I can just get a protein bowl. Like the protein bowl.
That's my point. Less calories, less money for them. Unless they're the same price.
Marginally, but in your prior example, that maybe the way I interpret it is that like those 9 million people, that's 9 million less customers for Chipotle.
Yeah, it's also like when we're doing the math for this, let's say 30 million people are on this drug next year.
Yeah.
That's, Chipotle has 30 million annual customers. Well, those 30 million people at random out of the 300 million that are in the U.S., that's only 10% of the total population. So
and that's U.S., not international.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even those people, it's not like they're going to stop going to Chipotle. We're just talking about slightly less.
True. It's like, okay, so what? If if you say they had a 10% hit to their earnings, whatever. Look at Enphase, 44% hit to their earnings. Oh, in 1 quarter. Okay.
I do have a couple more earnings if it's okay. So we have Intel. Intel surprised me. They reported an EPS of 44 cents, beating expectations of 31
Intel's
cents.
a good deal.
Revenue, 14.2 billion, beating expectations of 13.5 billion, and I believe they are up around 7% after hours.
See, the thing about Intel is it's the opposite of Enphase. Enphase is it's always been valued for having growth. The fact that it's expanding in Europe, and when you see that growth evaporating, that European growth evaporating, that's where people say, I can't be in it anymore because it becomes too expensive. You look at a company like Intel, nobody actually thinks Intel's going to grow. I think they're going to do extremely well because they're building the American fab. You've got concerns over China, Taiwan. What's your hedge? You invest in Intel. What's paying for their fab? Well, 40% of 30 to 40% is being subsidized by Biden. And of course, it's the only American chip manufacturer. What are the other chip manufacturers? Taiwan Semi, which is like 90% of advanced chips right now, and Samsung. That's it. Those are your big ones. And if Taiwan Semi is doing 90% of advanced chips, and all of a sudden now you get Intel that gets first dibs at the 2 nanometer, what are they called? The EUV, not the EUVs. They're the other lithography machines, whatever. The fancier lithography machines that cost $250 million, they're like $250 million machines. They're getting first dibs on it next year, which is crazy. I think people really underestimate Intel because they care about Intel's like server and networking business and like the custom chips they have. They fell when NVIDIA said they were going to get into making ARM chips. They're like, oh no, NVIDIA, I don't think any of that matters. I think that Intel's going to be a fab in the future.
Intel's a good one.
I think there's a really good play for Intel, so I've been really excited about Intel. I remember when I was thinking, I'm like, should I have more Intel than Enphase? And I wish the answer to that was yes, because I remember debating that. And I should have said yes, just solely based on where interest
Woulda,
rates
coulda,
are.
shoulda.
I know, that's where it is. And remember, Enphase, it's easy to hate on it because of its performance, rightfully so. But the amount of credits that are going into solar is insane. And that money just gets stretched out over more time as rates stay high for longer.
So Ford also did report earnings.
Who's that?
Well, after this, you might ask the same question.
Oh.
EPS of 39 cents, missing expectations of 45 cents. However, the revenue did beat 44 billion versus beating expectations of 41 billion. So 44 earned, 41 was expectations. Interesting to see their EPS miss. Do you think that's UAW stuff?
Oh, of course. I mean, they had massive shutdowns at critical lines that paused vehicles from being able to even move right at the end of the quarter too. So what a mess. The deal is useful for them. It's helpful. You still have a company that refuses to outline how much money they make from the EVs because we know it's negative and it's bad.
It's also worth knowing too with the United Auto Workers, Ford is the company that uses them more than any other American company, and so they are most heavily impacted by the deal they closed yesterday, which is really good for the UAWs.
Yes, that is true. Somebody is asking if Samsung's American. No, it is. Yeah, I don't know if I accidentally said that when I was talking about the 3 big. I'm talking globally. The global 3 big manufacturers.
Samsung is so big; they are 20% of South Korea's entire GDP.
It's crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah. No, and it's actually great because Taiwan and Korea realize how valuable the chip industry is. Innovation, man. And you know what innovation is in chips? Deflation. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's deflation. Like you can now get smart TVs for like $299 or whatever. It's insane, man. I had to sell my World of Warcraft account that I had like 10,000 hours in for like $2,000 to buy a TV. It was a Sony Bravia 42-inch TV. I'm like, I got a 42-inch TV for $2,000. What you got? And then it's like 20 years later, Kevin is like, bro, that's like $50 now off Craigslist. Actually, no, $50 new. 42 inches.
And it was only 10,000 hours of work that you had to do to get it.
So you divide that out, it's like $2 an hour, but it was a good, even less actually.
Way less.
Way less. It's 20 cents an hour. It was a fun 20 cents an hour though, okay? So it was worth it. But anyway, I mean, I just pulled it up as you were saying it about Ford. 50,000 vehicles on quality hold not delivered in Q3. It's unclear if, I'm assuming it's probably because of the strikes, because some critical pieces of the supply chain held up certain parts. Yeah. But yeah, that's an oopsie doopsies.
I think it could be the Mach-E's with the battery recall
Yes.
issues.
Oh, all of that. Yeah, I think it's built right into, you're right, yeah.
So here's an interesting post. These are companies that hit 52 weeks at some point today. 52-week lows at some point
I saw
today.
this. Stop. Don't tell me Enphase is in there.
No.
Stop. I saw another one. It was like 10 companies in the NASDAQ that broke their 200-day moving average. And it was like Enphase, Trade Desk. And I'm like,
a picture of Kevin.
Come on, man. What the hell?
This one has a picture of Kathy Wood on it. Teledoc, DocuSign, Zoom. So those are the 3 that I just know.
But I hate those companies. Those companies deserve it. Mine don't.
So poor Kathy, her companies. But what's really interesting, there's like 4 or 5 airlines in here that are at 52-week lows. Like airlines are being like destroyed.
So if there's one place other than skiing where you can guarantee inflation, it's aerospace. And they can't horrible.
Pass that down.
It's horrible. So no, because it's so competitive. It's like people just won't fly. They won't book the tickets. Like mine. So I have a 2021 plane, and it's funny because like dealers
subtly says it.
Oh yeah, dealers will hit me up all the time. Well, I'm glad I have a 21 because knock on wood, it needs less service. But then again, we have definitely hit service slowdowns where we're like, we need a new windshield, and they're like, we'll have you one in 6 months. I'm like, what?
It literally gets online, like on Reddit forums, like these super niche pilot forums. He's like, help me, please. And we found this like other service provider that's like, yeah, we'll do it like next week. And it's just so funny.
It's like off Craigslist. It's like a Craigslist windshield for your plane.
That did not happen. That did not happen for any.
But we used that as leverage on Embraer, which we do like Embraer. And Embraer's like, okay, we got one for you. So we got an official manufacturer warranty replacement. Everything's good.
Everything's fine.
But it's so frustrating. And I don't take no for an answer.
I know.
It's bad. But aerospace is so bad. You look at General Electric, you look at Boeing, you look at Embraer, they're all suffering supply chain issues. That's where inflation is. But it's starting to turn. Oh, but I was going to say quickly, I get brokers who reach out to me. They're like, hey, do you want to sell your Phenom? They're still desperate to buy Phenoms out there. It's wild. It's most popular business jet. And I'm getting starting offers that are like close to what I paid for it. And I overpaid for it. Yeah. And I'm like, this is insane. Yeah. So that, A. But B, I'm starting to get people texting me, hey, do you still need a pilot for your Phenom?
No way.
Yeah,
really?
It's finally starting to soften because there's this massive pilot shortage, which is screwing all the airlines too. Because they, just like Ford, have all the union negotiations. So they're having to pay all the higher wages, but they can't raise prices on tickets anymore because people can't afford it anymore.
Yeah, I didn't even tell you. I had a pilot reach out to me asking if we're looking for pilots too.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's trying to get his he's like, should I get my certification?
I can't take a new pilot. But okay. But no.
I'm softening in like the corporate jet space.
Yeah, well, you have pilots with thousands of hours who are like, I'm a jet pilot and I need a oh, that's the other place we go to.
That was such a niche joke.
Anyway,
my PTSD intensified.
I got excited.
Wes Stanley knows. Anyway, okay, whatever. So there's inflation in aerospace. So the airlines and staples, I don't want to touch. They have no pricing power at all. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of them are still doing better than frickin' Enphase, okay? But how's it going to be going forward? I don't know. Probably just to say.
Why would Goldman Sachs be hitting a 52-week low right now? But no other banks are on that list.
That's really interesting. Goldman Sachs, it depends on what their big focus is, and I don't know that, but I'm going to guess it has something to do with if you're not getting into wealth management and you're not beating on wealth management, you're losing right now. So wealth management is where it's at. Investment banking is not. So in other words, you want to do like IPOs. Who the hell is IPOing?
Yeah, Goldman Sachs is a big IPO.
Yeah, so you're screwed. If you're an IPO underwriter, you're screwed. I mean, what did Cart do? Cart just Instacart or whatever just IPO'd. Oh, down 17% already. They just IPO'd. What's the shoe one? The Birkenstock or whatever. Birkenstock stock. Birkstock. How am I even supposed to Google that? Okay, here we go. So they IPO'd as well. Okay, well, they're down 4%.
Ooh, people. Max, our friend Max had Apple screwed Goldman Sachs.
Right, that's also true. They pulled out. Apple wants to get away from the consumer spending division. I don't know how much money that actually made for Goldman. So I don't know if that was what was in the earnings, but we could always figure it out. Anyway, what else is going on?
Earnings is pretty chaotic this year.
It's fun.
It's like, so fun.
The chaos, like if you're not having fun in stocks because you're seeing your portfolio evaporate, then you probably have too much money in stocks and you should get into real estate, which is the perfect opportunity to mention that if you have not yet diversified into HouseHack, consider investing in HouseHack by going to househack.com, read our offering circular, and finally get some of your net worth out of this insane stock market because you could have the best fundamental analysis in the world. And it just takes years to play out sometimes in stocks. But in real estate, you can actually buy below market value deals day one that insulate you from this kind of market risk. It's kind of like being able to buy Enphase at 40. And it's like if it falls from 80 to 60, who cares? You're still up. That's what you could do in real estate. That's what we're doing at scale with HouseHack. So learn more about that. To that extent, you can watch the videos and all that stuff. Investing in startups is risky, blah, 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 blah. Read about that. And then do check out the Noob vs. Pro crash courses on building your wealth with real estate as well. Those are all coming out within the next few weeks. We're really excited about that.
So reaction to GDP this morning?
Oh, it's so good.
It was great for the economy, but stocks didn't love it today?
Of course not, because people are convinced that as long as the economy does well, Jerome Powell's just going to ream us. Jerome Powell will stop once he's convinced inflation is gone, when people were convinced inflation is gone. How do you convince people inflation is gone? When they go to a restaurant, they stop seeing prices going up. When they stop seeing airfares go up. When they stop seeing hotel prices go up. When they stop seeing prices for stuff around them go up. Then they start realizing, well, I know it's higher than it was in 2019, but at least it's even gone down a little. Like, watch this, okay? If you have people that are used to spending, let's say, $400 on groceries in 2019, and then all of a sudden it's $600 in 2022 and 2023. People are like, what the hell? Inflation sucks. It's 50%. This is trash. Okay? Then all of a sudden it's 575, 575, 575. Now it's like, wait a minute. It's not skyrocketing anymore. It's not the 400 it used to be, but you start lowering this belief that you're going to have runaway hyperinflation forever, that we can never go back to printing money again. So that's what people actually believe. They actually believe. I saw it. I see it in the comments. People are actually like, Kevin, this is a regime change. This is the Great Reset. We will not be able to print money anymore. And with how unsustainable our debt is, we're screwed. And I'm like, if we're screwed, then every other democracy in this world is screwed. And then, quite frankly, it doesn't matter anyway. World War III. So if you believe that, then we're all going to zero anyway. But that's probably not what's going to happen. And I'm not going to invest as if that's going to happen.
So if we're counting on the consumer to feel the effects of inflation not increasing, going down, disinflation, how does that affect corporate earnings? Are we going to have another earnings recession? If inflation starts to come down and companies have to lower their prices to be competitive, are we going to see that hit bottom line?
Oh, of course.
So is there still an earnings recession ahead of us?
Absolutely.
Facts.
Oh, absolutely. It just depends where. Like right now it's Enphase. At the end of last year, it was chips. NVIDIA. What was NVIDIA a year ago today? It was like $120, dude. And nobody wanted to touch it. You know, Tesla was getting ready to go to 106. So they're all going to go through their cycle. The airlines are going to go through it. The staples are going to go through it. They already are. MasterCards, they're going to go through it. The Goldman Sachs, they're going to go through it. Enphase is they're all going to go through their earnings recession. They just come at different times.
Okay.
And if you move around too much, then you potentially get screwed, because like what you don't, and this is the hard thing, right? Because it's so tempting to be like, okay, well, dump Enphase and then go into the performed well. And then Enphase comes out of its earnings recession, then do it.
Yeah, it's just cycles.
It's all cycles. And so you don't want to go from like bottom to top and then ride another one to the bottom. You know? Yeah. So it sucks. Like, don't get me wrong. Like I saw Enphase, I'm like, oh.
I mean, it just really goes to like the more of the mental approach of investing. Like if you believed in it when it was going, and you like nothing has changed with the company, it's just a cycle change. Yeah. Like you just have to look at your conviction.
Well, it is tough to have that conviction though, because you have the Fed. And here's our Fed topic. You have the Fed, like Richard Clarida today, who gave a speech to Pacific Investment Management. Wait a sec. Hold on. Federal Reserve after. Yeah. Okay. Wait, did Clarida leave? Oh, Clarida left the Fed. Mm-hmm. Oh, so this is a former. Oh, Clarida went to PIMCO. No way. Anyway. PIMCO. I want to see what are they investing in right now. Can you guys see what PIMCO is investing in right now? And I'll explain this, because Richard Clarida used to be at the Fed. And now you've got Richard Clarida, who was the former vice chair, now saying that inflation progress has stalled and we're not seeing labor markets slack. I bet you they're still short treasuries following Bill Ackman, and they need a little boost here. So I don't believe these quotes when I hear them. I'm like, what's your portfolio? Why are you biased? At least be transparent about it. At least I am. At least I try to be as best as I can. I have a laminated sheet that tells me to be transparent every time. I'll read it to you later. But anyway, the point is, who cares if there's not labor market slack? There is enough labor disinflation. We are not in a wage price spiral. That was the big concern. In 2022, if we actually continue with a wage price spiral, you're screwed way longer term than what we could be now. We don't know yet because we're still in the midst of it. But there's no wage price spiral. Inflation is, we may have had a little hiccup in September. We'll see if that continues with trend. But so far, when you look at 3, 6, 9, 12-month trends, all the inflation, the new rate of inflation is pointing down. You look at all the earnings calls with the exception of aerospace and skiing. Coca-Cola, MasterCard, American Express, Visa, any companies, anyone that sells anything, they all are struggling raising prices anymore. They are begging to be able to hold on to their pricing because they'll probably have to cut. Tesla's just ahead of the game on that. But anyway, my point is, I do think there's a chance that you're going to keep getting people that try to pull the Bill Ackman and try to, basically get bonds to fall more and yields to rise even more just because that's beneficial to their portfolios. We never broke through 5, though, on the 10-year, so it is very interesting. I don't know, what am I missing, Mikey? Beer? Oh, that's for later.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Okay.
beer and burritos. So, well, I want to tie up on the earnings real quick and move on.
Yeah.
We've gone on this for a little bit here. But as far as Amazon, their sales did grow 12% from the quarter 1 year ago.
Oh, we did go on a tangent since Amazon.
Yeah, that was the last thing we talked about.
Wow, that was a long tangent.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Microsoft
stressed.
though has been killing it. Their platform Azure has actually been increasing relative to the competition.
Dude, I went through their earnings this morning with course members. If you're not part of the course member live streams, we do them every day the market's open. They're really good. Almost every day. I'd say like 99% of the time the market's open. But anyway, their earnings are so good. They bring 39% to the bottom line. Wow. Bro, that's insane, man. Microsoft. Every $100 of money that you give to Windows Vista
goes to Microsoft.
Yeah.
It should
Margins, baby.
rename Macro Hard.
Who? What?
Microsoft. Macro Hard.
Macro hard. Okay.
Yeah.
Macro hard. Yeah. Macro hard. Yeah, because rates are high.
Yeah.
I get it.
I'm wearing my GitHub shirt to celebrate too. I got this from visiting their actual office. It looks like band font, but it just says GitHub.
That must have been during the bull market.
2019.
Oh, okay. Before that's awesome.
Yeah,
It's a cool shirt, but now they don't give away shirts anymore. I bet.
Oh.
No, they probably sell them now for $30. They need the revenue.
yeah.
I do have an interesting side tangent.
Oh.
We're on Microsoft.
We're on the first item on the
Is
list.
it
What's your
actually
tangent?
tangential to our discussion now?
Earnings.
Yeah.
Today is 1 year after Elon Musk took over Twitter.
Oh.
And how is that done for the stock?
That's the question: is how has Twitter been in the last year since
don't know, it might
1
be
year
up
ago
here.
today? Elon Musk walked through with the sync.
That is actually interesting. I did not
So,
know that was 1 year ago. today.
how-
Oh, in the past year, we're down 8.59% on Tesla, despite the fact that we're closer to Cybertruck deliveries in like 34 days from now. Optimus robot.
Tough macro.
Margin. They're still the only profitable EV company in this tough macro environment. Yeah, sure. Down 8% over a year makes sense to me. Okay. Anyway, let that sink in. So
Let that sink in. Stephen
all
in
right.
the comments, totally separate, but he goes, "What's the over/under on the Speaker of the House? 2 weeks?"
Wait, how long does lettuce last outside?
Oh, dude, the lettuce head. Oh, who remembers that with the chicken? Is that offensive to say that? Can I say that? I don't know. The lettuce head. What was
Yes.
lettuce head's name? I forgot what her head. That's all I could think of her as. She lasted as like the prime minister of the United Kingdom. The lady, the kingdom.
Liz Truss.
Truss.
Yes, everybody lost trust in Liz Truss.
Liz Truss versus lettuce. Vegetable outlasts.
Oh, it was funny. The lettuce lasted long than her whatever prime ministership, however you say
Yeah.
that. Anyway, okay. So somebody wants to know the over under on how long the speaker lasts. I actually think, trustless. I actually, I have faith that there is a chance this speaker could actually last. You just can't burn your own party. The problem is balancing the extremes, though. How do you prevent somebody like Gates from just trying to fire you again, right? And I think Democrats have to actually be very careful here because you're going to get none of your stuff done, and you have control of the other branches. So why burn yourself? You need somebody that you could at least get something up for a vote.
Look at that super chat, Kevin.
That's hilarious.
Kevin will deliver more babies than Tesla will Cybertrucks this year. Congrats on the babies. Thank you. Sorry, at least I'm up $100.
Oh.
That'll help offset some of the
Some of the
Enphase-
diaper,
Oh,
the diaper fees.
the diapers. I will say diapers. Yeah, we'll go
Yeah.
with that. All right. So, okay, what else we got, Mikey?
All right. Well,
What's left on Amazon? Is there anything else on Amazon? I mean,
that's all I wanted to cover. Unless
Okay,
you
yeah,
have
we
something to
hit a
say.
good amount of Amazon. All right.
You know who else might get screwed is TurboTax and HRBlock and anyone else who you pay to do your taxes.
Ooh.
Because the IRS is testing a free filing service this year. It's going to be up to 13 states doing this, so it's not everyone. It's called Direct File. It's free to use. This is a part of the Inflation Reduction Act. So $15 million were sent to try to implement like a safe and secure and simple government provided filing service for your taxes. So if you're one of those lucky 13 states, then a subset of that population is going to be able to try it this next year.
Do I want to file my taxes with an IRS-related software? Like, government. I don't know, man. Do we actually have faith? I mean, like, if the DMV is like, you could file your taxes with a system the DMV made, would I want to use it, even if it was free? I think they'd have to pay me. They'd have to pay me to use their software.
Or at least, like, provide some sort of advantage. Like, the IRS knows how much we owe them. Just say, like, pay here. Like Venmo. Like, what's your Venmo, bro? Like,
see, that would be great. Instead of actually having to file taxes, just like, hey, like, this sounds right based on your W-2s and your 1099s, right? Yeah. And then it's like, you're done. Like, you just get a green arrow or green check mark. That'd be so great.
Super easy.
Yeah, all right.
But why would the government make anything easy?
Well, yeah. All right.
A lot of people seem happy with just paying their accountants and just doing it as is. So,
yeah.
Right.
CPA's lives matter too.
Oh.
Okay. I guess
Israel.
Let's do some Israel-Palestine. Just a quick update on this. So there were ground operations that were started overnight last night. This is not the ground incursion. This is not the full-scale invasion yet, but it does seem to be in preparation for that.
The training is what they're doing.
They did a brief raid of the northern part of Gaza, and I think really the goal was they were targeting like anti-tank stuff so that they can go through and invade later. But they kind of went in, did a little bit of damage, and pulled back out. And this was as of last night. I guess last night in Israel, which is already nighttime again, so about 24 hours ago, during our last pod, that's when they were attacking.
Yeah, that's probably when it started. It's really interesting. It makes sense. I think what they're trying to do is two things. One, they're practicing to invade fully. But then what they're also doing is they're sending a signal that, like, hey, we know everybody's telling us to hold back, but just so you know, like, we're that close. So don't F with us. Like, it's kind of the is it wrong to say, like, the Chihuahua mentality? Like, it's like the loud bark of, like, but they actually also have a strong bite. They have the bite.
Yeah, I don't know if Chihuahua would be the right.
Well, like, maybe it's the Chihuahua with, like, a bulldog mouth or like a Rottweiler mouth because you have the U.S. backing. It's a bad analogy, but the point is, like,
they're
to
flexing
some
their
extent,
muscles.
yeah. But by doing that, like when you saber rattle, when you're Kim Jong Un or whatever, and you're saber rattling, you do make people pay attention to you a little bit more and then question, like, do we really want to mess with this? Like, if you did no saber rattling, maybe there would be more attacks. So maybe that could actually, I mean, it didn't sound, I mean, I'm sure there were casualties on both sides, but it would be very interesting to get, do we have numbers on this, on what kind of casualties were there?
I don't have numbers on casualties. There was crossfire with Hamas militants there too. But so many people had evacuated the north already, and it was such a brief little operation that I can't imagine the numbers would be that high.
And I'm okay with that as long as we're avoiding the civilian deaths. That's what scares me is the civilians. If it's like Israel pops in and then Hamas starts shooting at them, well, shoot back, of course. But that's why I've been saying since we've started covering this, like, just get out of Israel's way, let them kind of do what they got to do, and just, like, you effed up, man. You slapped Israel. You're gonna get slapped back now. Okay, now take it, and let's shut this down over here because it's gonna be ridiculous to continue to see people starving and without clean toilets. I know that sounds crazy, but it's like you don't have clean toilets. You don't have clean showers. Like, you can't live. Your life comes to a complete halt. Your business is gone. Your home's gone. Everything's gone, and you're just trying to find food and water. That's sad, man.
Interestingly enough, there aren't any published numbers from the Wall Street Journal on the casualties from the flexing of the muscles of yesterday. Maybe there weren't any casualties.
Well, there probably weren't on IDF side, which is why they're not reporting it. It's whatever happens to Hamas. I mean,
they're reporting.
IDF would report it.
They're reporting total numbers, but nothing specifically due to last night.
Yeah.
But something in this article that is interesting is Ron DeSantis is sending helmets, body armor, and drones to Israel. Good. I mean, obviously you're doing good, but
it's publicity.
Yeah, DeSantis is putting his name all over it.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, his campaign is floundering. Yeah. Seems like.
Well, it's like when you send humanitarian support to North Korea, you put the U.S. flag all over it. It's advertising, is what it is.
He probably put the Florida flag on it.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he probably did. It would be interesting to see what's going on with the polls as well, just to see the latest, because I doubt DeSantis is moving at all in the polls, and certainly something like this I don't think is going to move anything. But it would be very interesting. I mean, if we go for Republican primary, Trump's still like 49 points ahead, 62 versus 13 to DeSantis. Vivek is down at 3, according to the University of Texas. Vivek in Pennsylvania is at 5. I mean, it's such a long shot. You're really just going for VP is what you're doing over here. I mean, again, they're polls, we know. But USA Today did another one on Monday. Still shows Trump-Biden tied. But anyway, it will be very nice to see if we can get a minimization of this Middle East warfare. Because even Yellen today is like, look, right now, maybe we can avoid long-term impacts to our economy from this. But, you know, when U.S. forces are attacked 17 times in the last 10 days, you have what Ray Dalio talked about. McKay, you brought this up, I'm pretty sure, the hotbed of war, basically, that just creates more problems, and it's a disaster, you know?
Yeah, because right under that Ron DeSantis like subtitle, it's the United States troops have been attacked 20 times in 10 days.
Yeah.
But again, I think you keep reminding me of like, we have nothing to compare that to. Like, is that normal? Or
20 times, that's even higher than the last count. Okay, but yeah, you're right.
Like, is it normal? Like, what do you compare it to? Like 10 like last year? Like, how does that all compare? So obviously, we don't ever want to see our troops or any troops go under fire. But in terms of the grand picture, it's like, what are we comparing to?
And it's tough because it's also in fog of war. You have no way of knowing. I mean, they don't even have accurate death tolls on people in Palestine in the Gaza Strip because who's going around to count it all? You can't go into some of these areas because you're just going to get bombed. You know, I mean, again, you shouldn't do this, but I went on like a Telegram video, and there's like, I mean, you know, you have to take it for what it's worth, so it could be totally like BS or propaganda or whatever. But you know, the caption is like somebody's live streaming returning to their hometown in the Gaza Strip. First of all, I was like, why are you going back, bro? But anyway, he's like live streaming, going back, and he's filming like his neighborhood. He's like, oh my gosh, there's so much destruction. They kill him. He's dead.
Oh, really?
On live, done. You just see his phone collapse, and like you see like a boot and stuff. It was bad.
That's bad.
Yeah. So, but that's war. You know, that's why. So, who's gonna count all the bodies? It's gonna be a while. It's terrible, man.
Yeah,
terrible. Anyway, so well, I mean, you know, it doesn't surprise me that you know what they're doing? They're probing. It's not only saber rattling, but it's also probing. It's like, how much resistance are we really going to face here? What kind of tactics are we going to face? What kind of weapons are they actually going to use? They probably steamrolled whatever is left of Hamas. You're just going to have some, you know, loonies left who are like, okay, all up, you know, I'm going to do my job or whatever.
If I'm not mistaken, they killed last night or the day before the main commander of the person that crossed the border of like that day. They killed the main commander.
I want to hear about that. Can we get the Fox News up on this, or I'll change it? Can you get to the TV because apparently they have the shooter surrounded?
Yeah, I read about that while we were talking here. I can't find any confirmation that he's in the house, but police are armed and surrounding the house and telling him and whoever else in the house to get out. And this is as AP reported this about 15 minutes ago.
Do they have a live helicopter on it?
It's in Maine still. Yeah. So I don't. What are they saying? Let's listen for a moment. Let's get to audio on the Fox.
The Roland was off, so it's booting.
Okay, it's booting. That's fine. That's all right.
So do you want to give us a quick summary of what happened? You covered it last night while this is booting.
Yeah. So let's summary. So basically, this guy was apparently a National Guardsman. Nobody really knows everything yet, okay? But from what we have as of the latest information, year Army vet, potentially up to 20 years. He's a firearms instructor, either worked for the Army or worked for the National Guard. That part's debated. I guess there are some rumors or there's some talk that like the Army put out a statement and said, no, he didn't work for us, so maybe it was the National Guard, whatever. Apparently, he was treated for a mental health problem for hearing voices back in this summer. So like less than probably 3-4 months ago. Yeah. So you're literally in a situation where you've got somebody who has is treated for mental health illness because he's threatening to shoot up a National Guard base. And they don't take his guns away. They apparently don't solve the problem. They don't prevent a mental health problem because the government sucks. They don't teach people about mental health because the government sucks. They don't properly treat mental health because the government sucks. And I like these mental health. You can't blame some of these government mental health facilities because they're out of money. Nobody funds mental health, okay? It's not sexy for politicians to fund mental health. So then you get loonies like this who go to a bowling alley and kill like 9 people. Children are there. There were like 100 to 150 people, and children is like a youth league was going on. Then he goes to a bar where allegedly maybe he frequented, or he was also a frequent bowler, or whatever. These are all rumors, and it just kills people. You know, we're at 18 people dead, 30-ish plus or minus injured. The numbers keep changing a little bit. Yesterday was 20 dead. So it looks like the numbers were slightly off. But anyway, this all happened last night around 7, 8-ish p.m. Eastern time. And then he drove away, ditched his car by a boat dock. And apparently now he's surrounded. So do we have audio of this? Let's see.
And to reiterate, there's no confirmation that he's actually in the home. It even says right here, missing suspect possibly at home. They do have it surrounded. There's FBI agents and armed police around. They're saying anyone in the house to leave, but there's no confirmation from anything that I can see that he's actually in that house right now.
Okay, and this is in Maine, it looks like, eh?
Yes.
And we got a bounty hunter talking. Okay, all right, great.
If he was really a bounty hunter, he wouldn't be on Fox News.
Oh, he'd be on CNN. Anyway, so okay, yeah. I mean, look, it's a disaster. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, it just seems it's terrible.
Figure out his
there we go.
patterns. But again, it would really. This is offbeat for him to go shoot it out and then go home.
Yeah.
What sounds more like military is he's got, a place booby trapped. He's ready, and I think again that he may do it again.
Wait, is he home?
Like we all say, killers.
They're thinking he went back to his house.
Wait, you know what's crazy is yesterday in the comments, somebody's like, he's gonna go back home. It's like a military thing. Like you go execute your mission and then you go back home.
Return to base.
Yeah, like return to base. And it's like, no way. Like, come on, that's where they're gonna look for.
Yeah,
but they're like, he wants to have a shootout at home. Wow. Whoever that was in the comments. I mean, like, wow. That's insane. Okay. Anyway,
I wonder why it took him so long to go back to his house. Wouldn't that be one of the first places you want to go, is to get evidence and stuff like that?
Yes. Like all day today, they should have been basically getting subpoenas from courts and search warrants and banging down doors. You know what? They probably got their search warrant, went to the house, and maybe it took a few hours to get it.
Why did that take so long? In the movies, they have like judges that you like show up at their houses at like midnight, and like the judges are on the robe, and they're like, "All right, you think he's there? Yeah, we got him," and they sign off. In the movies, that's how it happens. I don't know what it's like at IRL.
Hey, Christian, will you please enhance?
yeah.
Enhance. Yeah, just
zoom in.
Everything's enhanced. Hold on, I'm hacking into the mainframe over here.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so well, let's keep an eye on this and see how this evolves. It's very interesting if they do end up having this guy. This will be fascinating. So we'll keep an eye on this. What other topics do we have? And then we'll check in for another update in a moment.
Yeah, I mean, we've got quite a few, but you have babies to go see soon. So like maybe let's do one more.
Yeah, I got to get to the airport in about 45 minutes, so we got some time.
You can do it.
Yeah.
So let's do a follow-up for yesterday, because there was a comment when we were talking about MPGe yesterday.
Yes, please help me understand this.
So we were talking about the miles per gallon equivalent. That's what MPGe is. And this is for EV. So basically, it's based on this comment that I saw, and it says, Tesla gets 100 MPG equivalent in dollars, not fuel, Kevin. When an EV gets 100 MPGe, it means they do 100 miles at the same price as a gas car does 30 or 40 MPG. It has nothing to do with equivalent fuel usage, but equivalent dollars paid to go to the miles. So that's the comment that I'm basing this off of, because you were like, can you help me understand this? That's not true. That's not how it works at all.
That's okay. Let's hear it.
If you think about it too, how are you going to judge how much electricity costs? It depends on where you are. It depends if it's daytime or nighttime. Like there's so many variables here. So MPGe, again, it's miles per gallon equivalent. The reason why we even use this is because consumers are so used to hearing MPG. Like that's just a number that makes sense to them.
It's sellable. It's comparable. It's so relatable. It's easy. Okay.
And so, funny enough, in Europe, we actually do it backwards. We do gallons per mile, basically, actually liters per kilometer. But here we do miles per gallon, which is kind of backwards. So it's meant to be for consumers. But this is based on the energy content, not on the money.
Okay.
And so what they've calculated here is that 1 gallon of gasoline contains about 33.7 kilowatt hours of electricity, the equivalent as far as energy. So in other words, they're saying that if a Tesla goes 100 miles with 33.7 kilowatt hours of the battery, then that has 100 MPGe. Has nothing to do with cost or anything like that. It's also worth noting, though, that the efficiency of the cars are different. So with an EV like a Tesla, you're getting 90% of that electricity to actually propel the vehicle.
Right, exactly.
Whereas with something like a gallon of gas, gasoline cars are very inefficient. We're talking like 20 to 30% efficiency.
No way. Yeah.
The majority of the gas.
It's worse than I thought. I knew it was bad, but I didn't know it was that bad.
This is for all the EV haters. The majority of the gas that you pay for to put in your car gets wasted in the form of thermal loss, and it does not actually propel your car. Yeah.
Heat. Wow. Yeah, that's wild. So okay, so the bottom line, what was who cited or where was this from?
This was like the original comment that I got was a comment on our pod yesterday. This was on
right. Okay, and then we put the numbers together.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll dive into that a little bit more as well. To me, what it goes down to or comes back down to is this is why it's so frustrating to actually have a real comparison of EVs to ICE because it's so complicated. Like, you think there would just be a simplified standard to be able to say, here's how far you could travel with it. But then they tell you, oh, the battery's a 300 range, but then you're getting like 240. And so that's a pisser for batteries. But then it's like, I get 300 in my gas car. Great. But if you care about carbon, only, X% of that is actually going towards propelling your car, whereas you'd be getting 90% towards the EV. But there's so much weighing and balancing to do. I think people shut down and go into, I'm just going to stick with what I'm used to, which is if I can go on a road trip and I just fuel up, it's good. It works for me.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Is that bottom line? We good with that?
That's
I'm good.
We're
I have an interesting topic that you have anecdotal experience with, and I want your perspective too, Mikey. So Robert F. Kennedy is a presidential candidate.
What?
Robert F. Kennedy is a presidential candidate, and he has been refused. He's asked for Secret Service twice, and Biden's campaign has refused to give him Secret Service. He just tweeted out this afternoon that yesterday an intruder climbed the fence at my home and was arrested. After being released from police custody later in the day, he immediately returned to my home and was arrested again. Is it normal to have, should presidential candidates have Secret Service? Is that normally, and in your experience as governor, did you have an increased security?
Candidate. I never made it. I was a failure.
So what do you, why isn't the Biden administration giving him a Secret Service? Is that normal?
Well, I mean, should everyone who signs up to run for president just immediately get Secret Service privileges?
Right.
It's
or anyone else in office.
Hell,
was it
you
Pelosi's
run,
husband?
and then we don't even need security anymore. You just run for president, and then now we can have Secret Service everywhere. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, there has to be some kind of threshold. What were you saying, Mikey?
Was it Pelosi's husband that someone broke into the house?
Oh my gosh!
But the Capitol Police are supposed to be there.
Supposed to, yeah. Yeah, no, and I think they're like a phone call away kind of thing. It's like, yo, we got 5 of y'all to protect, and we got 2 of us. So it's almost like Brinks Home Security. Call us, and we'll come 20 minutes after the cops show. I don't know. I'm not trying to bag on the Capitol Police. I'm trying to say they don't have enough funding to do all this stuff. So, and it's very expensive to do Secret Service.
Yeah.
So you need to have candidates that are actually polling well, right? That actually have a remote chance, because quite frankly, RFK's just not on anything. He's not getting the polling, and even Democratic polling. I mean, it's just too low.
Well, he's an independent now.
I know, it's even worse now, because now you literally have zero chance. Just switch to be a Republican and see if you can qualify for the Republican debates then. Running as an independent, it's I know it's a protest move is what it is. You're protesting the system, and don't get me wrong, the system's bullcrap, but everybody knows you're not going to win as an independent. It's just not going to happen. It's a two-party system, the two-party machine. You have the Democratic attorneys, the Republican attorneys. The Democratic fundraisers, the Republican fundraisers. If you're not in the box, you don't get money, okay? So, as a result, you weren't making it as a Dem. You weren't making it as, you're not going to make it as an independent. It makes sense. Otherwise, where's DeSantis' Secret Service protection?
Well, he's the governor, does he?
He has his own, Florida Highway Patrol protection. But that's not Secret Service protection. I'm not saying they're not good. It's not Secret Service, right? So, if anybody's next in line to get Secret Service protection, it should be DeSantis. So if you're going to give it to RFK, give it to DeSantis. If you're going to give it to DeSantis, then the next person, theoretically, based on polling, would be your Haley's. And then you'd be at Vivek and that, right? Exactly. It's everybody gets Secret Service protection.
That's tough.
So, And then as a citizen, we should be should we discriminate against who gets Secret Service protection because of your family's lineage? Because that's what people argue is that, it's a Kennedy. Okay. So does that all of a sudden mean that you deserve what other people don't get? Right? So no, it doesn't work that way. So, I think that it is great publicity, though, to say I'm a Kennedy and somebody's trying to break in to kill me. So, if you wanted free advertising, your buddy puts on a mask and jumps over your fence. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Like I know it's jaded, but it is the perfect thing for Kennedy because it's free
He
advertising.
needs sympathy money too.
So we'll help donate for your security.
Yeah.
Again, it's very jaded. I know. It's probably
I don't know
not true.
I don't know what Robert Kennedy's net worth is, but if he wanted to provide security, I bet he could.
It's not Taylor Swift's. Taylor Swift's apparently, according to Bloomberg News, crossed $1.1 billion today.
Wow. Congrats, Taylor.
She officially became a billionaire.
Wow.
According to Bloomberg, which she probably already was, but like they just did their estimates. And congratulations. She is the
awesome.
first musician ever to do that off of just music and performances. Whereas most musicians, you get into like ads, sponsorships.
Well, I think the only other musician would be Kanye. Oh, I don't want to demonetize the video. Hold on, sorry.
The fact that that guy has never been canceled, I mean, he's been canceled, but the fact that he still exists and has popularity gives me faith that you basically can't be canceled in America, which is weird because like there's cancel culture and everybody's like, what do you mean, Kevin? People get canceled all the time. People cancel themselves. They just quit. Kanye never quits, and so he never gets canceled. It's crazy.
And it's crazy because now I think Yeezy is back partnered with Adidas.
Again? No, they didn't.
Yeezy, if you go to
because they took like a $1.8 billion write down on Yeezy merchandise because they're like, we're done with Kanye because he said, I think it was anti-Semitic stuff.
yeah.
Imagine if that happened now.
Adidas.com/US/Yeezy still up. It's an Adidas homepage.
That's really funny because that actually, if that's the case and they already took the $1.8 billion write down, their margins are going to be so good going forward.
This is a piece. Adidas CEO talks Kanye West after Yeezy fallout. Quote, I don't think he meant what he said. Therefore, we miss his products. Therefore, you can put them back on our website. Please, Kanye. So now Adidas is going back to Kanye saying, please come back. I'm surprised Kanye did it.
Yep.
Wow.
I don't think it's accurate to say he didn't mean what he said. I think it's more accurate to say he has no idea what he's talking about anytime he opens his mouth.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But anyway, I don't know with certainty here that Adidas is partnering again with them. I mean, I'm still looking at Yeezy's new releases getting paused. Who knows? Maybe they're just trying to discount and sell the rest of the stuff they have. But anyway, they took a massive write down, so maybe that's something to analyze. I don't have all of the facts, but it's just very interesting.
It is interesting.
Okay, what else?
1989 Taylor's version releases tonight.
Ooh,
Is that the day? Wait, tonight or tomorrow?
It's tomorrow, but midnight tonight.
Oh, midnight tonight. And on
When
the day
I-
she became a billionaire?
yeah, no kidding.
That's cool.
That's what the year she was born, right?
Yeah.
So that's cool.
And the year her boyfriend was born too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Her new boyfriend was born on that
Kelsey.
same year.
Oh, wow. So good for them. I love Taylor. She's an inspiration. I don't know even what I was going to say. Oh yeah, regarding the Adidas stuff, go look into that. If that's, we don't have all the data.
I will
on
fact
that
check
one.
that. We'll fact check that.
We'll circle back on it. We'll circle back Saki on that one. Okay, next.
Any updates on the suspect? No.
Oh yeah, let's go tune in to Fox for a moment here. Let's just look at
Fox
this.
Shooter. Oh,
Probably another 3 to 4
We're
days.
on somebody's
You're already
browser.
Hearing, I believe it was Kamala Harris say something like, "Oh, well, you know what they do in Australia. You know, why can't they? Australia, I think they took away everybody's weapon."
Okay, we know this is old.
And then ownership is back at the pre-confiscation levels, which completely undermines her point.
I'm
And
doing
also, this is in Australia. And if
Shark
if
Tank?
we're going to talk about the criminal usage of firearms against innocents, then it's unfair for us to omit the defensive gun usages
should I
that
pick?
take place every single year
Shark
to
Tank.
outpace criminal usage. In fact, Jesse, it's so blatant that the
Because they're just talking stuff. I want to hear like some more of what's actually happening. Family pleads for answers.
that's Israel.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, not that we don't want to hear about
maybe
it.
Fox
but-
just doesn't have anything to talk about.
yeah, I don't know that there's actually much news. Just the fact that he is surrounded. Oh, I can't see it anymore. Oh,
That
wait, yeah,
he might be at home.
yeah. It's just a big maybe. Okay.
Well,
all right.
honestly, like the police are probably just like continuing to do investigations, and Fox might have just tried to put their own spin on it.
I mean, there are definitely a lot of news outlets talking about this, so it could entirely be true, and I believe it. And you know what? Thank God. Thank God if he is, because can we go back to it for a moment? Because I just need to see a little bit more. There we go. Here. That's what I was looking for. So we got to give like equal time to each of them, right?
He had pre-positioned everything. He was prepared, and he had hunted and fished in that area, grew marijuana. So yeah, I see some eerie similarities here. Outdoorsman, hunter, trained in the military, both of them very similar.
And also, Chris, I mean, that it would be critical then for information his friends, his family might be able to provide of favorite cabin, favorite fishing spots, you know, trails he frequented, areas he likes to go.
That's absolutely true. I mean, they've done a full profile on him by now. You know, his social network, whoever he hunted with, family members, friends, going back to the military, buddies in the military, you know, dissecting his entire life. It doesn't take that long with the technology we have now and the resources they have on the scene. So, you know, that all of that will be helpful. And, you know, there's a thing called a geographical profile. We did that with Eric Rudolph. And we combined it with the geographical profiler said, he's here, this is his personality. He's going to be somewhere he's familiar, doesn't want to go meander around the country. And so there is also the combination of that and no credible sightings elsewhere. So part of this is a suppression operation as much as it is a manhunt. I mean, they're both at the same time.
You know what Israel
they don't want
would
him
do?
to hurt anyone else. Obviously.
What would Israel do right now? What would Israel do if they're like, he's in that house?
They would bomb all of Maine.
Yeah, I mean, like, it would just be gone.
Yeah.
It would just be instantly obliterated. Oh, let's listen.
Anderson, we have a line of, I'm counting 7 law enforcement vehicles. Some
parade.
of them trucks, some of them just sedans moving past us. They came from the other side of where the house is on the road and are moving past us away from the house. It does not, I'm not sure if they're completely extracting, but they are moving away from it. But we do still see at least 2 law enforcement vehicles at the house. One vehicle
if they're leaving
is in the driveway.
And it's a nothing burger.
And there are other vehicles.
It's probably like a puppet. They probably had like a puppet. Like he placed a puppet of him holding beer, and secretly it's just giving him more time to.
Yeah, he's just getting away.
Yeah. That's
Bummer.
Why does that look like a clown show though? You know, you have
like a lot of resources that aren't being used efficiently.
Well, like, look why are they going so slow? What is this? What kind of a police operation is this? It's like, well, there's too much media in the way. Well, get the hell out of the way.
Yeah.
Like, this looks stupid. It looks like a media spectacle clown show. You know what? They're probably not even real cops here, right here. This is just the media trying to show some stuff. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
Whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. God, whatever. All right, what else?
Okay. What time do you have to leave?
I don't know, like next
now-ish?
5 minutes.
Okay. Well, then I saw this on a comment, and I didn't actually add this to the list today, but I did see this, that BP has purchased a lot of Tesla superchargers.
Yeah, they had $100 million.
$100 million purchase for Tesla superchargers.
This is how they increase their ESG score.
Who?
BP.
The oil companies.
BP.
Oh.
They get into carbon recapture. They get into windmills, solar farms. They just allocate some of their massive profit to money-losing projects, A, as a tax write-off, B, to get tax credits. Yes, you could get both, write-offs and credits. And C, to try to look a little better in their earnings reports. So in their earnings reports, when you pull up the front page of the earnings report, they have beautiful pictures of like windmills and like happy people working on solar panels.
You have to.
Yeah. It's just all bullshit, man. It's like, I don't know. I feel like I've just become so jaded. It's all a game, man. Anyway.
I have something to end on a lull.
A lulls? Okay.
Yeah. Mike, I just sent it to you on Twitter. Do you want to pull it up?
No.
Give me a second.
No,
I
not
do think
Twitter.
It's a good lull.
No.
The BP thing, though, I think is a win-win for everyone at the end of the day.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. Like, you have to also remember, like, the energy companies, they realize the transition is happening. So it's either, like, start buying some of the infrastructure now, or you're going to die. So, in fairness to them, they do want to also invest in carbon tech and wind and solar because if they can make money with it, they're probably the most well-positioned to do it because they have so much cash. They're so cash-rich today.
And
they
they
are
to go
energy
with the
companies.
Tesla superchargers because that's tech that's proven to work unlike a lot of the other ones.
So good.
The other chargers are trash. I would never buy an EV if it wasn't for the Tesla superchargers.
Yeah.
For sure.
So we could end on this lull, and if you want to do a reaction, we have a reaction we could show
I've
you.
actually
good
seen
Lord.
this before. So
this is I don't
a
know.
Kevin
This is just
reaction.
I've never seen this. It just made me it made me laugh so hard.
Do I have to watch something?
Yeah.
It's all of 11 seconds here for you.
They didn't drink it. They put it down.
Shut up! I mean, in fairness, they could have clipped the drink out, but it is hilarious. It is a really good meme. I like that. They are both known, literally both of them known as leaders that will poison their enemies. And their friends and family.
Yeah, and they're scared of getting poisoned back.
Of course.
You see Putin on these like table meetings that, like when the invasion started against Ukraine, and he's standing like 60 feet away from everyone else just on the other side of this table.
I did hear it looks like Tesla Model Y long range just got a little price bump.
$500.
$500, yeah. I mean,
According to the comments, I saw that, yeah.
Apparently, I mean, when I see this, it's, it's just like shareholder massaging, right? Like, do we really think Elon's like, oh, inventory is actually a little low on the Y right now. We're going to go bump it $500. Come on, man. It's trying to signal. You know what it is? It's reverse psychology. You raise the price a little bit on one vehicle, and then people hear, oh, Tesla's raising the prices. Maybe Tesla prices are at the bottom. Well, I better get in now before he raises the prices on everything. It's hilarious. It's trying to signal a bottom, and the price drops.
And then they drop the Model S $1,000.
Well, yeah, I mean, but the Model S and X are like a ripoff, right?
Yeah.
The Y, and I own both of them. I know I got ripped off. But the Y, do as I say, not as I do. The Y and the 3 are the best cars in the world, period, hands down. Maybe the Cybertruck will be there as well. Yeah,
500 of them.
The Y for sure, best value. The storage, the efficiency, how cheap it is, how safe it is.
Yeah.
A couple of photos I want to show just because we were talking about Putin and trust issues here. This is how he conducts his meetings with Macron, but it's a little bit different with his own cabinet. No, it's not. It's the same thing.
Trust no one.
Look at that.
I don't understand this or the reason for this. It's very odd.
He's scared of dying. I mean, like poisoning. It's not just drinking stuff. There's been cases of people getting poisoned from little pricks by like umbrellas and things like that. So it's very easy to kill someone, and you don't die right away. You'll end up getting, maybe in your sleep 12 hours later, 24 hours later. So they're wary of all that. They don't trust anyone. And all these photos were from right after the invasion.
Right.
What if it is a body double and they don't want to see the differences
That's
that close
it.
up?
Yeah, there you go. But the Kremlin said they don't do body doubles.
They said it's utterly false.
Well, if they said they didn't do it, then yeah.
You know what it's called in Germany when like you fart in an elevator and then you leave the elevator? You left an umbrella in there. It's so stupid, but when you said like it's killing somebody with an umbrella, I don't know why.
Oh my gosh!
The direct translation is so stupid. It's like that's just cringe. It's just bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it actually is somebody in the comments who speaks German. And stehen gelassen, whatever. It's
We have do you want to do that reaction with the real estate one or not?
How long is that?
It's just a clip.
Like how long is a clip? I mean,
Less than 60 seconds.
Okay, all right.
We don't have to do it.
I mean,
if we
I could
want
poop on Andrew Tate. I can go.
So this is just maybe we don't.
What is it? Well, now is it a cliffhanger for tomorrow? Is it good?
Well, it's just somebody giving advice of somebody not to buy real estate.
Okay, let's hear.
Oh, that's what you're talking about. One second, let me find
It sounds better in German.
It was down. That one.
Is this one?
Oh my no.
Nope, I clicked the wrong one again.
Aye.
But maybe it is good advice. Let's see. I want to get your take on it.
Not sure if you know this YouTuber. Let's open this up.
Oh no.
See a mortgage, $8,000 a month.
Is what I put towards it. I think minimum's like $7,200.
Why did you decide to buy? Because it seems as though like 8 months ago you wouldn't have qualified for the loan, and now you're able to qualify. So within 8 months you decide, okay, I'm making a decent chunk of money. Let's go and put it towards a house at a 6.5% interest rate.
I don't do a lot of impulsive choices.
Yeah.
This is one of the more impulsive choices, but of course, it just also happens to be basically $900,000. That's a big thing to be impulsive about.
Yeah.
So, like me.
The issue that I see is that you're spending more money owning the home than you could just pay renting it. You could probably rent a home similar to this, I'm guessing, for under $7,000 a month.
I couldn't find it, but I also wasn't being patient. I bet if I waited, I could have found something.
Probably. But you weren't patient at the expense of the next 30 years of having payments. Really high payments overall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the newness is going to wear off. Give it about 6 to 8 months. You're going to be itching. You're going to think, I need some more space. The driveway is a little too steep. Can't fit my Ferrari up there. It's going to scrape when
I have a 2019 Jeep Cherokee, and I have no plan of upgrading, to be very clear.
So, I mean, it's interesting because in 8 months, he came into money and wanted to buy a house, bought the house at almost a 7% interest rate, and Graham is arguing that he could have rented it for cheaper, but is the ownership going to benefit him in the long term? He can refinance it. By Graham saying you're locked into the next 30 years is a little misleading, in my opinion. You can always refinance. You don't have to keep it for 30 years.
Ignore the 30-year comment. That's a slippery slope. But otherwise, I think Graham's right. Like, in this environment, why? Why? Like, he's right.
Yeah.
You could totally arb this and rent it for less. And I almost never say that, but I actually...
And he could have put the rest into a money market, 5%.
Yeah, I mean, he probably, did put down 20% or, I mean, you're right. I mean, the 20% down would be about $180,000. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
It would have paid his rent for him, right? I mean, think about it. Like $180,000, let's just say, at now. We don't know what his decision time frame was then, but that's $9,900 a year. That's only paying you $825. To rent, that's going to be $5,000-$6,000. So I mean, it contributes, but yeah, I think Graham's right here.
Interesting one. Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
Can you imagine if he was facing another Caleb Hammer in front of him who was just like, it says you paid $900,000. That's stupid. You're stupid.
Oh, yeah. I don't know, man. Like, I'm all for like helping people with perspective. I mean, we do it all the time.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I can't be that mean to people.
No. Yeah, call to action,
It's
by the way.
good video, by the way.
If you haven't yet, consider subscribing because we'll have some super cool videos coming out this weekend or in the coming weeks of financial audits that Kevin does. So those are pretty cool. If you haven't subscribed, let's get to that 2 million subscriber number.
Yeah.
November 1st is coming up.
November 1st, invest in HouseHack. Make sure to invest in HouseHack. Go learn more at househack.com. Let's play some music while I read this crap here. Even though I'm a licensed financial advisor, licensed real estate broker, and becoming a stockbroker, this video is neither personalized financial advice nor real estate advice for you. A lot of the stocks I mentioned in this video are down. Oh, wait, that's not what it says. Are stocks that I personally own or hold in my actively managed ETF. This video shall not be deemed providing any kind of third-party content that is endorsed by me. It's not reasonably sufficient information for the purposes of evaluating a security. It's not a research report. Okay, you get it. You want tax or legal advice, call somebody, okay? If you actually do want financial advice, go to stackhack.com. Get stacked with StackHack. Now you gotta go pick up 2 babies across the country. I gotta go across the country to go pick up 2 children.
I don't think the IRS likes you, the SEC likes you calling that crap. We love the SEC. We appreciate you.
Goodbye.
Baby time.